I've started this new series of videos called Conversations with Myself, partly because sometimes I talk to myself. Can you say that? See, I'm already having that conversation with myself. I love doing collaboration videos with my band Jay's Ruckus and with other musicians that we have an opportunity to get together and do a collaboration, and especially during this time with the COVID-19 pandemic, we all have to socially isolate, quarantine, lockdown, all that sort of stuff. And it's fun to do those, but I'm also a college professor, a dad who is helping their kids with remote learning while they're in school. My wife is home working, so I don't always have the time to put in for collabs, but I also have a little bit of gaps of time to where I have musical conversations with myself. So that's exactly what we're doing with this video, and thought we might jump into what I did on the back end of this after you've seen the video. So let's dive in. All right, we're inside of my setup inside of Logic Pro 10. It's my preferred DAW for mixing and mastering all of the conversations with myself videos, Jay's Ruckus recordings, and any other projects that I might do where I need to do some basic or more complex audio editing. Pro Tools is great. Any other DAW is perfectly fine. This just happens to be the one that I utilize the most. So this is the setup that I have inside with the wah trumpet, the harmony trumpet, the delayed trumpet, the distortion trumpet, which are all technically the same trumpet. I'm just using different pedals on those, and we will take a look at those pedals here in a moment. And then I used some of Logic Pro's basic loops to get this conversation started, with the exception of this soul organ. I did play those parts myself. And then this is my mix setting. So the wah trumpet has to have a little bit more gain on the fader, harmony, delay, and roughly, kind of close to unity gain. Not quite, but have to pull those down inside of the mix. The distortion, though, was something a little interesting because in live applications, this has to be pulled down a lot. Yet inside of recording, I find that I have to have it pretty close to unity gain to get a decent mix. So I'm still trying to figure that one out. Some of my audio engineer friends, maybe you guys can help me out. And then again, just some basic mixing within the loops to create a nice mix, a little bit of pan. And the further along in the song, this comes to some automation with the pans. And of course I have some channel EQ, some compression, things running to bus subs. And those that may not be familiar with Isotope, I do like using their plugins, Neutron for some basic mixing, and then for mastering using Ozone. Just using Ozone elements, not using anything standard, advanced, or anything like that, because basically what comes inside of the elements package is more than enough for what I do. So let's take a look at, the pan. Towards the end of this, I wanted to show when everything is happening. If you'll notice right in here, I have some pan automation when everybody starts soloing. And by panning the 4 different pedal options out, not quite hard left, but fairly hard left, hard right, and then slightly right, slightly left, in addition with where everything else is mixed on the loops, it gave it a nice even spread. And then if you want to see where my settings are for my mastering plugin, this is kind of where I have everything set for the master bus on the equalizer. The imager, not full stereo spread, but it helps put the pan out in left-right. So if you're listening on headphones or good quality speakers, you can hear the stereo spread. And then of course the maximizer set for a -1 dB ceiling, which is pretty industry standard for streaming. And since most of you are watching this video on Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook, streaming is perfectly fine. Don't need to put it to CD quality. So let's jump over to my pedal board so you can take a look at my setup there. Okay, here is my pedal setup. Apologize for the mess. We're inside of my office and I'm a little limited on my space, but let's take a look at how I have everything set up. I have my BAC trumpet with an AMT P800 wireless mic attached to the horn. Why am I going wireless to go into my DAW? Honestly, it's just my live setup, and I have very little latency with AMT's technology going into a Focusrite audio converter. So I just keep using it, and it allows me to be hands-free, and I'm not connected to anything. And if you've seen any of my Jay's Ruckus videos, I did actually record those parts mobile, because I can be a pretty decent distance away from the computer and still get a decent quality recording. So again, going from the BAC trumpet into an AMT P800 and the Mini Q wireless system. And on this Conversations with Myself, this first soloist that comes up is using this Source Audio Stingray with the setting that I have on it right now. I could talk a little bit more about that setting, but the Stingray has so many options of sounds that I could do a really long video just on that one alone. So this is my setting. If you happen to have this pedal and you liked that sound, you can recreate it with that. The second quote-unquote soloist was using this TC Electronic Quintessence, and the harmony set to a sixth below the original sound with the mix about halfway through. And then the second soloist is using the analog setting on the Source Audio Nemesis delay. Pretty even tone. The mix is a little bit more of the dry sound, so the original trumpet sound with not as much of the delay coming back. That's my preference. I have it for different settings for different applications, but for this one, that's what I used. And then finally going into the Boss VE20 on the distortion setting with the harmony pedal engaged along with it. And for this particular setting, the harmony isn't quite a harmony. It's more like a chorus set on top of the distortion. Gives a really interesting crunch that I enjoyed using not only for this Conversations with Myself, but on some other settings. So this is my pedal setup, and for future videos, I'll blend some of these pedals together, hopefully even try out some other ones. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Do me a favor, make sure that you're hitting that subscribe button down below, that bell that lets you know when future videos are coming out, because I'm going to have some more of these Conversations with Myself, as well as other videos from Jay's Ruckus and some improvisation and composition videos, hopefully coming out soon. So if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a comment down below, subscribe, share it with other friends or musicians that you think might enjoy it, and I'll see you next time.